Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. It's Friday, July 28th, 2023. And you know what that means? It's time for us to recap all the latest and greatest in cannabis policy news for you and to answer your burning questions live. Hey friends, take a quick second to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. And hey Caleb, good to see you. You are in fact the first here. Congratulations. Hey Caleb, where are you watching from? And hey everybody else, drop a note in the comments for us and let us know where you're joining us. We also have in the studio with us NORML's state policy manager, Jake. He's going to be helping me answer your questions. Everyone, give Jake a warm welcome. Say hi to Jake, everyone. Hey, Lisa in Oklahoma. Good to see you. Hey, Joshua in Bristol. How's it going out there? You excited for all the new stores that are open out your way? All right, we're gonna talk. Oh, look at that. Caitlin is watching from Mexico City. I love that. Glad to have you here. Oh, good, Joshua. Just like 20. I meant the real ones. You have six. Southwest Virginia is the only area that has all six dispensaries open. So that's pretty cool. Excuse me. All right, friends. Hey, we launched a really exciting why did I forget words? Really exciting initiative this week here at NORML, all focused on ending workplace discrimination against responsible cannabis consumers. Look, the responsible use of marijuana should never cost you or anyone their job. But even in many of the states where cannabis is legal for adult use or for medical use, even, employers can still fire employees or refuse to hire someone based solely on their off the clock legal cannabis consumption. Now, we've been working to end this discriminatory practice, and we're dedicated to continuing that work representing you consumers. We'd love for all of you to join us. I can see Jake already dropped the link to that new story on our blog in the chat for you all. So take a look at that if you haven't yet. Hey, do you think people should be losing their jobs for legal cannabis use? Let us know in the comments. I didn't mean to show that. Hey, Cannabis Kelly in the beautiful and legal state of Missouri. Good to see you. Hey, Jose in Philadelphia. Brittany in New York. Glad to see everyone here. Hey, James in Roanoke. I know what that means. Oh, yeah, right, Joshua. Excuse me, everyone. Mams, love that. So Mam says Youngkin, that's Governor Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, is slamming Virginia ABC for less profits. Alcohol is state regulated in Virginia. And yeah, that is pretty funny that he's slamming the state's liquor peddlers for not making enough money. Right? Mams goes on to say, if only there was a retail cannabis market that could be regulated for tax revenue. And then also asks if alcohol sales go down as cannabis becomes legal. Yeah, in some cases you can see reduced alcohol sales, but more importantly, what you see are reduced DUIs and reduced DUI fatalities and hospitalizations related to alcohol impaired driving. Hey, Wade, you haven't missed much yet. I introduced Jake, who's our new producer. So say hi to Jake, Wade. And I talked about our new Ending Workplace Discrimination Against Cannabis Consumers campaign that we have at NORML. So you can check that out because Jake already dropped those links in the comments. Hey, Ellie. So happy to see you here, friend. And as Ellie says, yes, everyone make sure that you vote. Hello, Astro Ranger in England. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. All right, so we talked about our workplace campaign. Next week is, check the calendar. Next week is August 1st. Well, not all next week. Next week, August 1st happens. And you know what that means. If you don't, I'm about to tell you. Adult use legalization takes effect in Minnesota. Beginning August 1, adults 21 and older will be able to legally possess in public up to 2 ounces of cannabis flower, or up to 8 grams of cannabis concentrate. They'll be able to cultivate for personal use up to 4 mature plants in a private residence and store up to 2 pounds of flower. Thanks, Jake, for getting that info in the chat for everyone so you can read more about Minnesota's incredible progress. Can't wait to celebrate another legal state on August 1st next week. Hey, Jason in Minneapolis. Speaking of Minnesota. Oh, let's take a look at Jason's comment. Jason says, greetings from Minneapolis. Hello. Jason says, I feel we need to aggressively confront what's happening here now that it's legal. City council members are now trying to overtly limit where it is okay. Well, you're not alone in Minneapolis. That's happening in other jurisdictions as well. And we can help you organize against actions like that. It's really important, as Ellie was just mentioning earlier, that you're involved in the civic process. And Jason, it sounds like you're already well aware of what's going on in your locality. So it is really important, not only that you go to these city council meetings and you speak out in support of what you would like to see, but you can make it a little bit easier if you just call up whoever represents you on city council, or heck, maybe it's not the person who represents you. Maybe it's someone you already know, or it's your friend's friend. It's a lot easier to make progress, to make the change that you want when you have a personal relationship with these people. It doesn't mean that you had to have voted for them or that you're going to donate to their campaign, but they're elected officials and they represent you and your community. So go interact with them, call them up, send them an email, ask to get coffee. You don't have to start out with, hey, I want to ask you a question about cannabis. You can, give them a softball in the beginning, work up to your issue. If you want help figuring out how to sort all of that out, you can just shoot us an email at NORML. Go ahead and send that to policy@norml.org. And we'll get you connected with the information you need to be an effective advocate wherever you are, whatever the issue is, as long as it's related to cannabis. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Hello, Denisha. Good to see you. Denisha wants to know, when will Indiana ever free the leaf? We have a really excellent NORML chapter in Indiana NORML, so I encourage you to get involved with them. I'll also remind you, Denisha, that elections have consequences. And if we aren't electing candidates who support the reforms we want to see, we're not going to see them. It gets a lot harder to change laws when you don't have a legislative body that is favorable to cannabis policies that favor consumers. So before you head to that voting booth, you can check out where the candidates stand by looking at our Smoke the Vote voter guide to legalizing marijuana in your state. And also, even after it's already legal, we're still going to grade the candidates for you and post their position statements when we're able to find them or when they provide them to us. So check that out at vote.normal.org. I'm sure Jake can drop that in the chat for you as well. That's vote.normal.org for our voter guide, Denisha, so you'll know. Well, that's loud. You'll know where the candidates stand. Elections have consequences. Make sure you are electing candidates who support the policy change you want to see. Hi, Sherry. I was just talking about you before we started the show. I was explaining to Jake about the fundraiser that's coming up. He was interested in that. We're glad you're here, Sherry. Hello, Adam in Georgia. Ooh, look, we just have such a great audience today. Squeezo in France. Jason, I'm so glad that you've confirmed that you are in fact politically involved. Fantastic. Hello, Cassidy in Louisiana. Hey, John in Rich Creek. Weed maps. Hi, friends. It's been a long time since we hung out, but I'm super excited to see you here. Michael, hello. What did you miss? A couple things. It's in the chat. You see, thanks, Sherry. I love that. Hilarious. All right. Oh, look, we've got George from West Virginia. Hello. Good to see you, George. Hey, Astro, you, yes. Astro, I would love to talk to you about a UK chapter. You can just shoot us an email at chapters@normal.org. And we'll hook you up. All right. Hey, Ernest, good to see you. Good to see you. All right, let's talk a little. Let's get into some more news. Hey, who's been paying attention to Ohio? Remember a few weeks ago we told you that Ohio advocates turned in nearly twice the number of signatures necessary to place legalization on the ballot in November. Well, we've got an update for you, which you might have already seen. Was it the 25th? That was this week. This has been a very long week. So on Tuesday, the Secretary of State's office announced that petitioners, even though they turned in nearly twice the required amount, petitioners were 679 signatures short of the total number needed to qualify for the ballot. But petitioners still had 10 days to get in the needed signature. So this is until August 4th. They have until August 4th to submit supplementary signatures. And a spokesman for the campaign said he was confident that they will do so by the deadline. Now you can, I'm gonna be bold here, Jake. I'm gonna click. I was telling Jake I don't like to do too much clicking during the show because you never know what's going to go wonky. But listen, there's a website and you can find out information on how to sign. Sorry, my brain broke. How you can sign a petition. Jake, I just dropped that right below the Ohio. There you go. So I know that there is some information posted on Reddit about this. I got that earlier today, and I'm going to try to share some of that on NORML's Facebook for those people in Ohio and on the Ohio NORML Facebook page as well. But otherwise, you can reach out directly to the campaign at justlikealcohol.com. If you click on, there's an initiative language page, and or is it? I don't know. Click get involved. You can figure out the internet, friends. I have faith in you. Did they get rid of it? Initiative text. That's what it is. signature collection instructions, and download the petition. So there you go. There's also an email that you can reach out to them about. So make sure if you're in Ohio, you sign the petition, connect the campaign. Let's get it on the ballot. That's funny, Ernest. That's hilarious. Happy Friday, Fred. Good to see you here. Good to see you, Fred. Hey, Matthew. Good to see you. All right. Yeah. Hey, Matthew, I am psyched to see you here from Beaumont, Texas. I hope you are involved with Texas NORML. Our dear friend Jax James is the executive director of Texas NORML, and she is an incredible human and a powerhouse activist. So you are in good hands in Texas. Make sure you get connected if you aren't already. Hey, Scott. Good to see you, friend. Look at you watching us, Scott, on YouTube. Love that. You know, Scott, we can stream this on your channel if you want to. Let's just connect. Oh, Kelly, I want to read your question, but also I'm going to need some more info. So I don't want to scroll up too far and then forget where okay, Kelly, where are you asking us about? Also, while I'm waiting for Kelly to tell me where this question is about, hello to the hemp person from New Zealand. Look at all we've got someone watching from England, someone watching from France, someone watching from New Zealand. We thought Friday at 4 o'clock wasn't the right time. It's apparently a great time. Thank you, Kelly. Missouri. Okay, Kelly's question is about Missouri. Kelly asks, how is it that cannabis dispensaries can lose their license by affiliation of Cannabis Crawl and other cannabis venues? Do you mean like when people do a bar crawl or something? Yeah, not alcohol venues everywhere, including county fairs, blah, blah, blah. It's all adult use. They're trying to hold the dispensaries accountable for people's actions after leaving the venues hours later. Wow. Well, fortunately, Sherry made a sign for that. It's not about the dispensaries, but it is about the consumers. And listen, people, Kelly's pointing out a good point. You're making bad choices. It's not working out well for the dispensary. So like maybe don't do that. But that is really interesting, Kelly, that's happening. Dan Viets is an attorney in Missouri who helped draft both the medical cannabis and the adult use legalization legislation. He may have some additional insights into that. He serves on the NORML board of directors and is a lifetime member of the NORML legal committee. So if you need to get connected, or if you don't already know Dan, feel free to reach out to us at chapters@norml.org, and I can help facilitate that. But that's a pretty interesting thing that you bring up. It sounds like in Missouri, people are going dispensary to dispensary, like a bar crawl, but for cannabis, and the regulators are not pleased about that. Hey, Blue Ox. What's up with Youngkin? Is he still holding up adult use sales? Yes, he is. He's not really said anything. He's not responded to his administration outing their position of being vehemently against really any momentum or expansion of cannabis regulation in Virginia. He's not responded at all to that. So yeah, that's yep. Elections have consequences, friends. And, I think that for Virginia, really the best here's the worst case scenario, if you want me to be super doom and gloom. Democrats control the Senate right now. Republicans control the House. There's an election in November for both chambers. And we could come back, reasonable expectations are we come back with a still Republican controlled House. And then what's going to happen to the Senate? Are Republicans going to take the Senate? If they did, then Virginia could be the very first state to roll back cannabis legalization. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Or it could come back with a tie, in which case Virginia could still be the very first state to roll back cannabis legalization. There's a lot at stake in this November election in the Commonwealth. So don't mess around, friends. It's not the time to sit out and to whine about the candidates not being perfect. Get out and vote for the person who's going to, essentially hold the line, is where you're at in Virginia right now. Are we going to make any progress under the Youngkin administration? We're going to try real hard to have something palatable that helps keep things moving forward. If you want to learn more, keep coming back. But we don't have an environment where we can take the big policy steps that we'd like to at this point. Yes, hello, Ruthless Cannon. In Florida, you do need personal cultivation in Florida. We're of the opinion that you need change, period. There's been some minor improvements to Florida's medical cannabis program, but it's pretty expensive to participate in the program. Not necessarily on the products themselves, but to participate, it just seems really overpriced for your physician recommendations down there. Squeezo, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Yes, NORML France is doing an excellent job. They're such a great chapter. But yeah, there's always more work to be done, whether it's before or after legalization. Hey, Lumberjack in Texas, we're working on it. Yeah, Blue Ox talking about Youngkin in Virginia. He's not been very forthcoming on the issue, despite members of his own party being really strong champions of moving cannabis legalization forward. We have some really passionate, pragmatic, thoughtful House Republicans who really want to move this issue forward. We've got, we even got one in the Senate who wants to do something, but when you have an administration that opposes it, you just can't, what happens is, what happened this session in Virginia was there was a plan. There was everyone does their job and it's like, okay, well, here's something we think is going to work for both sides. Okay, everyone's good with this. All right, we're going to move this forward, and it gets through the Senate, and the House has their own version. We get into the committee in the House, and all the cannabis bills are up on one day because that's how they do it. And we talk to the chair, and there's a plan, and then the phone rings, and then everything's over because the administration has called the chair and said, we are not doing this. And that's it. That's the end of it. So I'm glad that the commissioner said something on the record, whether he was whether it was intentional, whether he was permitted to do so or not, he did. And what we've been telling you is now out there for everyone to see. That's really what's been going on. Hello, Trike with Mike in Anaheim. Good to see you. Excuse me. France is hysterical with cannabis. Wow. Good to know. You're welcome, Joshua. I'm so glad we could accommodate your desire to personally cultivate cannabis in Virginia. Oh, thank you for that explanation, Kelly. Now I understand. Cannabis crawl is held on private property that has cannabis venues that sell to adults with ID. I understand. Got it. Thank you. Well, Ruthless. What's it? Ruthless wants to say is asking, what's it going to take to legalize it on a federal level? An act of Congress is what it's going to take. Congress has to pass a bill. It's up to Congress. A lot of people who want to say, oh, the president, why hasn't he, removed marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act? Because he can't. He can't just sign an executive order and do that. That's a novel idea, but that's not how it works. has to be Congress. They have to pass a bill that removes marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act and allows states to continue setting their own cannabis policies without threat of federal interference. We're a little bit a ways from that. Still, out ahead of a bill to end federal prohibition is likely a bill called Safe Banking. Sometimes you got to crawl before you walk. And that's a great example of look at this bill that's focused on loosening restrictions, federal restrictions on cannabis banking. Can we get that across the finish line? Can we get some more emotional comfort within our federal legislature and Congress, and then help build that appetite for more reform and elect better people? Y'all got to vote. We can't be sitting them out. We can't be doing this. I got my tears because this candidate's not perfect enough. It is not Burger King. You are not going to have it your way. There are 2 hamburgers on the menu. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's the reality of American politics. Pick the one that you want. It's not going to be perfect. It's probably going to be kind of cold in the middle, maybe a little stale bun, right? But one of them comes with rights and the other one probably doesn't. Just saying. Squeezo asks, should cannabis businesses adopt payment solutions as BitCanna? I don't know. I know there's a lot of novel payment solutions, but largely in the US, there is, payment is not really an issue. Nor is, it's not the consumer to business transaction, other than you can't use credit cards. And MasterCard moved this week, in fact, since you brought that up, MasterCard moved this week to prohibit transactions, debit card transactions, as some dispensaries have the ability to have debit card transactions, and MasterCard says, not on ours. Perfect example of why safe banking needs to pass. There's an action alert for safe banking at norml.org/act. I'm sure Jake can find that and drop that in the chat for everyone. But yeah, there's all kinds of novel payment solutions out there. Hey, Joshua. Joshua asked, do I think this rescheduling study is going to go anywhere? Let's find out. I can't wait to see it. Like it hasn't been done before. Hey, Christopher, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Alan, good to see you as well. Hey, William, you just moved to Georgia from Colorado. All right, all right. That's got to be a change. It's got to be quite a change for you. Yeah, there is a chapter there, Peachtree NORML. They've been around for a while. They're structured a little differently. They're a 501c3, so they can't really engage too much in political action. But if you are interested in starting a NORML chapter with some of your friends, why don't you reach out? Yes, exactly, Blue Locks. Things like Venmo and Apple Pay are still prohibited also. Absolutely. Thanks, Jake, for getting that action alert in there. Yeah, Chris, safe banking and safe healthcare. That is, yes. Wow, you all are very entertaining today. Okay, so we talked about Ohio. Excuse me. I have 2 more stories to tell you about. Hopefully we can get through those before I lose my voice. All right. Hey, I'm so glad we have friends here from Europe because, as you all know, Luxembourg, their law permitting adult use cannabis cultivation and personal possession took effect. So if you're going to go visit Luxembourg, it's a great time. If you're 18 or older, in which case you can have, some personal use cannabis in private. 18 or older is the age in that country for adult use. And if you're 18 or older, you can legally cultivate up to 4 plants in your private household. Don't like grow in the park. But still in Luxembourg, consuming cannabis in public remains criminalized, as does the public possession of more than 3 grams. There's also criminal penalties if you have a personal grow of more than 4 plants. The good news is that officials say that this new policy is, in their opinion, hopefully a first step in what they anticipate to be future reforms loosening that nation's cannabis laws. So, high five, friends in Luxembourg. Woof. All right. And then, right. Last but not least, I think this one is super interesting. There is a tribal council in North Carolina, the tribal council for the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, and they have decided to allow on their ballot a question as to whether or not they should permit adult use cannabis sales on their land. This is super exciting. Of course, North Carolina, the state, their marijuana laws are pretty terrible, but I'm really excited that in the Koala boundary, they are going to permit this. The tribal council is going to permit this ballot measure. Their election will be on September 7th. That's their general election. If approved, this measure would permit residents to legally possess cannabis and engage in retail sales. Cannabis sales would initially be restricted to tribal residents, but would eventually be open to the general public. And so that's super cool. Members of the tribe already engage in legal medical cannabis sales. Yeah, so cool. The Koala boundary in North Carolina is about 50 miles west of Asheville, for those of you who want to know. And unlike there, where they have it together, neither medical use nor adult use or consumption are permitted in the rest of North Carolina. So that's one of my favorite stories for this week. That and Luxembourg. Those are my favorite stories for this week. Oh, cool. Hey, Steve. Thanks for sharing that info. Steve says they say they will have the largest medical dispensary in North Carolina as a whole is stuck in the reefer madness era. Yeah, no kidding, right? Look at how the legislative session in North Carolina went. Hey, Andrew in Chicago and Pennsylvania. Good to see you wherever you are. Hey, Remington and Baton Rouge. Blue Ox, I don't think they're going to be coffee shops. I think they're just going to be regular old dispensaries. Hey, Aaron. Good to see you, Aaron in New Jersey. Wow, I sound disgusting. All right, that is something. Look, Christopher, I am going to high five all day on being first in the South, right? Virginia is, in fact, the first state in the South to legalize adult use. I think the state still is worth a watch. Virginia's going to get it together. This November election is a big deal, though, to see if we can keep what we have. And then, of course, in 2 years, there will be another. Is that right? How does math work? Yeah, whatever. Then we'll get rid of this administration. It looks like Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger is going to enter the Democratic primary for the next governor race in Virginia. She's very pragmatic and thoughtful on cannabis policy. So not mad about that. Yes, in Luxembourg, you can now grow 4 plants, Squeezo. Super excited for that country. Yeah, we are. Yes. Oh, Aaron. Hey, Aaron, I can connect you with New Jersey NORML. Feel free to send me an email at chapters@normal.org. Hello, insulin type 1. Insulin says we're too busy giving all our money. Aren't you in Virginia? I thought to VA and MD. Don't they have like 10 million? Maryland's day 1 adult use sales did really incredibly well. Yeah, absolutely. That went by really fast. Squeeze out. Yeah, second country in Europe after Malta. Hey, Andrew asked if there's any developments in South Carolina. Well, I can tell you, Andrew, that there are 9 bills still pending in North Carolina. There is one on veteran access. There's one on medical access. I can't even see what that one is. There's 2 on decrim. One related to odor as probable cause. One on legalization. There's a bill to have a referendum on both medical and adult use, and then there's another medical cannabis bill as well. You can see all of that as Jake is ahead of the game there. NORML.org/act. Click on your state, and you will see all the legislation that is pending. Most states, their legislative sessions have wrapped up, but a good number of you still have some stuff kicking around there. So check it out. And take action. Share these action alerts with your network. Make sure you're reaching out to your lawmakers and telling them that these issues are important to you. Otherwise, they're not going to do anything, ever. Yeah, Amsterdam has been getting more restrictive. Got it, insulin. Thank you. Yes, Alan. We did have a story about Alabama a few weeks back. Which is really no surprise. Look, this happens state after state, and it becomes incredibly problematic in the states that have taken even longer to get to it, like Alabama. So Alabama is in the licensing process for their new medical dispensaries, medical providers, and the regulatory body put a halt on it and said, nope, we want an independent review to come in. There'll be 8 million more lawsuits, I'm sure. But yeah, exactly. What a shocker. That's sort of what goes with licensing now, is licensing and lawsuits. And ultimately, at the end of the day, who loses? Consumers. Because these lawsuits and these stops, all they do is delay safe access. No, ma'ams. No, ma'ams. There is no update yet on the appeals court case related to gun possession and medical cannabis patients. But Jake did put the amicus brief in our brief bank, and you can find that if you want to read it on our NORML website. Just put in the search bar brief bank, and it'll come right up. I bet everyone went to Maryland, Chris. What's the latest as far as Ohio goes? Thanks for asking. The latest as far as Ohio is you need 679 more signatures that are valid to get legalization on your November ballot. You can find out information at justlikealcohol.com. Jake dropped that link in the chat a little earlier, but make sure you find out when and where you can go get your signature on the petition, there's an email for the campaign on that page. You can connect directly with them. I also am aware that there's some information on Reddit about where signature drives are taking place. You know it, Brian. Absolutely. Brian says Alabama should approve all the applicants and have a real program from day one. Half of them won't get opened, right? Just like any business, but something about cannabis businesses, we just have to have all this magical mystery, mystique, and these wild expectations, like you're going to solve capitalism with weed policy, and fascinating. Thanks for getting that brief bank link, Jake. Appreciate it. Kelly, that's so important. Absolutely. Kelly says it's so important to get out and register people to vote. Then they'll be more likely to exercise their right and vote. A lot of people have been criminalized and never told if their rights are restored. They don't even know if they can vote. Kelly, you will be thrilled to know that in tomorrow's Weekend Weed Read, which goes out at 9 a.m. tomorrow to our Weekend Weed Read subscribers, there is a link to register to vote. You can find that on the NORML website right now at norml.org/vote. Share that with your friends. You can check to see if you're registered to vote and to see if your information is correct. And if you need to register or you need to update it, there are links to facilitate doing that as well. We got you. norml.org/vote. Oh, good news in Hawaii. Good news. All right. All right, friends. Well, I need like 8 more gallons of water and a nap. This has been great hanging out. Why don't we do it all again next week? If you have questions, you can send those to us at norml@norml.org. You're welcome, Blue Ox. You're welcome. Hey, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. We do it almost every week. Try real hard to do that every week. I've had a blast hanging out with all of you. I hope you did too. And I hope to see you all back here next week. As always, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.